Well, hello there, you beautiful, beautiful, amazing, wonderful people. I hope you're all well on this midweek hump. Yes, that's right, baby. It's a midweek hump, and we all love a midweek hump. Anyway, I just wanted to freak some people out. Love it. Love the fact that introduction freaks some people out. Look, for all you people who that introduction freaks out, I'd rather freak you out and make one person smile. That's always going to be the case. If you don't like it, either hit fucking fast forward or fuck off and watch someone else. Anyway, let's get into this because this video's going to upset some people. I know it's going to upset some people, straight up. And look, it's going to upset people, not because it's, I don't know. It's what I'm saying here is absolute fact. It's fact. It's just the way the things are. I'm not saying that it's nice. I'm not saying that it's palatable. In fact, it's quite unpalatable, and that's what's going to piss some people off. But we've got to talk about this, and that is the Goncalves family are kicking off. They ain't happy. They ain't happy. And look, you can understand why they're not happy because their daughter was killed. You know, Kaylee Goncalves sadly lost her life in the Idaho 4 tragedy, and they are understandably upset. But being upset, sadly, doesn't affect what's factual. So they've come forward and they've said, look, enough is enough. Redacted or not, the body cam footage and photos are absolutely traumatizing. That Kaylee's house, her bathroom, her chair, her dog, her friends' voices that are crying, law enforcement officers heavily breathing and sighing at what they're looking at. Let's see the body cam of when the FBI and PA Commonwealth arrested him before kicking down his doors with guns drawn. Where's that footage? Oh, wait, let me guess. That's a violation of some sort of rights that he has. Yet Kaylee has zero rights. Look at her picture. Where are her rights? Her family is still here. Where are our rights? I gave birth to her. And look, the downside is Kaylee Goncalves lost her life. The fact of the matter is she doesn't have any rights. Murder victims do not have rights after death in the traditional sense, but their families can access legal and financial rights, including compensation for financial losses and emotional suffering, a family liaison officer to assist with legal processes, and in some jurisdictions, the ability to pursue a slayer rule that prevents the murderer from inheriting from the victim. So this is where we spoke about and we saw about the fact that they were perhaps looking to block his ability in the future to perhaps write a book, speak about the crimes, and profit from it. I think that is a grey area because I think that with the absolute lack of clarity, the lack of information, I think it would be silly to try and stop him from writing anything because I think that would potentially, if he's indeed the perpetrator, give an insight that many people, including, I would say, the Goncalves family, would like to hear, to be able to understand. I do believe that. I could be wrong, but we currently have no real information. You know, Brian Koberger was allowed to plea and not give any information whatsoever, and there was a shite excuse given for it. Bill Thompson would say, well, we didn't want to really ask him any questions because we just thought he'd fucking lie anyway, which I think some of us think along the lines of, did you mean that you didn't want to ask him any questions because he may not have been able to fucking answer them? Who knows? You know, that's the skeptic in me, and I don't really trust the system. But yeah, look, Kaylee Goncalves, it is a tragic, tragic situation. And the sting of her losing her life is going to be there for the families, of course it is. But I'll bring your attention to some of the comments that were made in here, because obviously you get your normal comments where people are being pricks. Like one person here basically asks who would put in the FOIA request, who filed the FOIA request, name them so we can spread what a piece of shit they are. And someone else, yes, let us know who filed this, because they immediately want to go on the attack and attack people. But this individual here, Taylor, says, Why does that make them a piece of shit to request what is legally our rights? I pray this family gets peace and justice. From a blind eye, it seems right to have every single piece of information available to the public. Unfortunately, it's your daughters. The sting is worse. My heart absolutely breaks for what you have been through. I cannot imagine. But Clip, I'm so grateful to live in a country where we can request all information from a case so we can also educate ourselves. It's a double edged sword when it falls on victims' families, which is a very, very good comment. It's a very, very good point. That comment doesn't land well with certain individuals, but it's like in the video that I did earlier today, where I spoke about a case where an individual is convicted of a crime, is very, very similar to the Brian Koberger case, where we have issues with potential witnesses. We have issues with other DNA found at the scene. We have people who are brought in literally, like Dylan Mortensen would claim, that she would say that there's somebody who was on the peripheral who had threatened previously, even physically attacked one of the friends, and that seemingly went nowhere. And it was the same in this case that I spoke on earlier, that one of these individuals who had literally threatened to kill the victim had, after conviction of seemingly the wrong person, went on to hurt other people. And in order to avoid being called out on the shit and the lies and the exculpatory evidence and the Brady violations, they basically just said to the individual, what we'll do, we'll let you out. We're not going to say you're innocent, but we'll just allow you time served and we'll all walk away from this crime. So, look, the system in that case was broken, it was bent, and they weren't held accountable. You want the system to be transparent. You want the system to work properly. You want the people in power to understand that the public are going to see everything, because that then acts as a deterrent for them to do things that aren't right and proper. Now, were things in the Koberger case done right and proper? I think that anybody in their right mind would likely determine that the case itself had issues. It was surrounded by issues. It was surrounded by situations that were nonsensical. How can you have a situation where the defense attorney, literally weeks away from trial, is standing in the court saying, I'm not ready for trial. I'm not ready. I haven't been able to look at everything. I haven't been given discovery. They're even bringing up alternative perpetrators, yada, yada, yada. All this, that goes nowhere. One of the defense witnesses who brings into question the cell phone data and makes some serious accusations at the prosecution, that's basically just made out like that's conspiracy theory, which is insanity. And then, right out of left field, you have a plea deal that makes no fucking sense whatsoever. One of the questions literally asking the accused whether he's happy with his legal counsel, and he stands there like a fucking moron and says, yeah, I'm happy, after literally days before they've said they're not fucking ready. It's insanity. But look, we have a situation where the Goncalves family are upset that things are being made public, that people are seeing things that they don't want to see. What I will say is they don't have to look at things. They don't have to get involved in that. They don't have to look at the footage. They can walk away from social media. They can walk away from YouTube. Their daughter was interested in true crime before her death. Their son is literally hanging out the back of Olivia, the YouTuber who does true crime, Chronicles of Olivia. They are literally filling each other out like application forms. And look, I say that with saying, look, true crime and the true crime niche is what it is. There are stories in abundance all over YouTube in different variations, whether it be Let's Read, whether it be Lazy Masquerade, whether it be Mr. Ballin, all of these huge, huge channels that are getting millions upon millions of views that are talking about crimes. They're showing you crime scene footage. They're letting you listen to 911 calls that are far more graphic and detailed than this, what we're seeing in the Idaho 4 case. I was watching one the other day that was literally about a young lady who was decapitated by her boyfriend, and it literally was showing you the body cam footage of the mum entering into the property and coming out and explaining exactly what she had seen to law enforcement. You know, it might not be palatable to some people, but if you're someone who wants to bitch about it like some Karen, then stay the fuck away from it. If you know it's going to upset you, then don't watch. Don't listen. Don't engage. That's your choice. It's like what I've said to many people before. You can't walk into a pub and then fucking complain that the pub is serving beer. Stay at the fucking pub. Look, I appreciate that these people are upset, but the answer here is not to manifest ideas that secrecy and privacy and hiding things are what needs to happen. Fuck me, didn't we learn our lesson in the Idaho 4 case? Transparency is needed, transparency is required for the aforementioned reasons. If you don't get it, I can't help you. But let me know down below what you think and feel. I'll see you in a few hours' time live. Love you all. Mwah.